Maseches Bava Metzia Daf Chav Zayin Amud Beis. We are in the first wide line, going back a little bit, overlapping of yesterday. Lema ketanoi. Lema ketanoi means that we have investigated. The Gemara asked the question if the concept of Simanim is that the rise of the Rabbanon. When you say that one can return or should return an aveda, a lost item, based on Simanim, is that Torah? Does the Torah actually say that? Again, what's the chiddush? That you don't need edim. Usually, to move around money from one hand to the other, one needs edim. Yeah, if I want to take the item from your hands for whichever reason, normally claiming it's mine, I think that black watch is mine. So then what? I have to bring two edim, or possibly shtaris of us. Normally, the best raya is edim, and here it seems like the standard is lower. We did not require that the person who lost the item should actually come with two edim to prove that the baseball cap of the Chicago Bulls belongs to him. Yeah, it's very nice to have a seaman, but a seaman is not as good as edim. So here we see that the standard is lower. Is that low standard Torah? And then we have no questions. In other words, we'd say, okay, the Torah decided here that Simanim are enough. Or is it something that Rabbanon established, and that we'll investigate later? Why would Rabbanon lower the bar? We're going to talk about today, Be'ezras Hashem. And also, how can Rabbanon do such a thing? How can Rabbanon Kivyachol play around and be more makel than the Torah? That is only because of HBH. HBH meaning Hefker, Beis Din, Hefker. Hefker, Beis Din, Hefker. Beis Din can, that's the rule. We learned it from Ezra, the scribe. Yeah, he could, Beis Din can confiscate money, move money around if it's a great Beis Din, and they can do that too. They can decide that the lost item can go back from the hands of the finder to the hands of the loser, because that's Efka Beis Din Efka. I can see your back. Lema ketanoi. Thank you for the reminder. Thank you for the reminder, Peanut Gallery Choshev people. Of course, the nafkamina would be, the Gemara said, get Isha. Since Efka Beis Din Efka only applies to Mammon and never will apply to anything else, Chachamim cannot lower the bar and be more lenient than the Torah when it comes to kashrus or Shabbos or Taras Mishpacha or HSH for sure. And therefore, the nafkamina the Gemara mentioned before would be what? If one lost a get Isha, without going into details now, if one lost the get of a woman and now I want to return the get of the woman to the shliach, he's on his way to give it from the husband to the wife, and continue and give it to her. And I'm only basing myself, I return it to him based on the siman that he gives in the get. If it's doraisa, then fine, the Torah decided that that's good enough. But if it's Rabbanon, it won't be good enough. Because here the ramification of Kamina is not just about money. It's about whether that lady living in Bnei Brak, like in our story, will she be an Eshes Ish or will she be divorced or not? That's a huge nafkamina beyond the scope of Beis Din. And then I cannot return the get based on that. Because it's you don't say Hefker Beis Din Hefker when the ramifications are halachos of Yerodeh ben Adam Lamokoim lema ketanoi. Let us say that this is a machloikes tanoim. In other words, we want to claim now that possibly the question that we ask is the question whether it's the rice or the Rabbanon, maybe that itself is an issue of a Tanaic dispute. Lema ketanoi. Ein meidin ala shuma. Shuma may be a birthmark. Maybe I was a little bit too excited yesterday when I said Shuma. Shuma doesn't necessarily mean a birthmark with a very specific sign. There are different levels of Simonim. We're going to see there are three levels of Simonim. Shuma may mean a wart that stays with one the whole life, not a wart that, or maybe a mark that's not so significant, like a black dot somewhere, kind of birthmark, In other words, there are different levels of Shuma also. Basically, what Tanakama says there in Yavam is quoted here is, if somebody's body is found, and we know that there is a married woman whose husband disappeared, and we see what the guy, unfortunately, the face was effaced. We can't recognize him properly. That does happen. He went on this very exciting hike on Zimbabwe, and I don't know what happened. All you can see is the body with a shuma, with a wart, a birthmark on his left elbow, and we know that her husband had, some kind of, general birthmark on his left elbow. Oh, maybe now the two Edim can come and they saw the body with the birthmark, go back to Beis Din in Tel Aviv and say, that lady's husband is the one that we saw. Is that enough to identify him as the dead husband and therefore she can remarry? Yes or no? Again, I'm reading. Ein midin ala shuma. The Nakama there says, no, shuma is not good enough. To just be made on a birthmark without the actual face, that's nicht enough. That's not good enough. Elazar ben Mahavoy omer meidin ala shuma. Elazar ben Mahavoy says you are able to made ala shuma. Yeah, you are able to. Meaning. What does it mean? Meidin ala shuma. They can go to Beis Din from Zimbabwe to Tel Aviv, to kosher Jewish Eidim, and say we saw a person with that specific birthmark on his, left elbow, and therefore we assume the assumption is high enough to know that, oh, my husband had, and people know that he had, a birthmark on his left elbow that is good enough to identify him as the dead husband and allow her to remarry. That's a machloikes. How do you explain the machloikes? My love must be, what is the point behind the machloikes? What do you say? The boat of contention? Yeah. What's the point? What? I said bone.
Oh, sorry.
I said bone. I said bone of contention. My love, okay. I said both of them. My love, I'm anti-Western culture. My love, yeah, that's the point of Machloikis. The Tanakama Sova Simanim de Rabbanon. The Tanakama believes Simanim are very nice. Identification marks are good enough for Rabbanon. Rabbanon cannot permit an Eshesish. So it's a non-starter, right? It's not good enough for Eshesish. It's enough to give you back your baseball bat, not your wife. The Elazar ben Mavoy Sova Simanim de Raisa. Elazar ben Mavoy says no. Simanim marks to whichever level. Yeah, let's say we'll talk about levels later. Simanim of a certain level are good enough doraisa to identify the person as a dead husband. Doraisa is good enough also for Eshesish. I want to point one thing. You already know by now that there are two levels of Simanim. We spoke yesterday, and you thought it's a joke, but it's not. The Gemara says it. If they identify the person with his clothes, yeah, and all they say he was wearing a white shirt or a blue shirt or a gray shirt, even if it's not Yeshiva Smear or Charedi Tzibur, the white shirt, that's for sure not the Siman. Even if the guy's from Tel Aviv, some people wear white, black, red, or that's not enough of a Siman, Lekula Alma. Such a low level Siman of a regular Siman that he was wearing the shirt, even if we don't say that he lent it to his friend, there was another factor. Even if you just say the color of his shirt, that's not a Siman because it's too general. Here we're talking about a birthmark on his left elbow. It should be a good enough Siman. Yet, Chachamim say, Simanim are good enough, only the Rabbanon. Rabbanon can't allow a married woman to decide that she's a widow based upon that, and that's it. And Elazar ben Mavai says it is good enough. Omarove. Now the Gemara is gonna, as we said yesterday, the Gemara is going to reject that assumption that Mechloikis is about the rise of the Rabbanon, and we're going to offer now three different ways, other ways to explain Mechloikis Chachamim and Elazar ben Mavai whether the identification marks, the birthmark wart, is good enough or not good enough to identify him as a dead husband. Way number one, Omarove. The Kula Alma Simanim Doraisa. Middle of the road, good Simanim, not white shirt Simanim. Simanim, everyone believes are Doraisa. Are Doraisa. So what's the difference? So what's Machloikas? Here, I think I made the mistake of my Kita Dalit teacher. I got stuck in Kita Dalit. Yeah, Ben Giloy is a person who was born in the same time as him. In other words, you know that every second in the world there are many babies. I don't know how many, but I want some statistics. This very second, there are many babies born at the same time. China, I don't know, all over the world. Yeah. So then what? Let's say the person who was born on whatever Rosh Chodesh Nisan Tafshin Nun, whatever. Yeah, there are other people born the same time as the same muzzle under the same stars. As much as we say in Mazel Israel, but he was born under a certain, hashpah, and therefore we say possibly not that he looks exactly the same, but maybe he has the same birthmarks. Yeah, there is such a theory that a person born under the same stars, so to speak, may also have the same birthmarks. Now, I saw yesterday, I sinned and I looked online with my very filtered internet, and I looked a little bit in the Goyish culture. I don't know if it's shtiyot, maybe it's shtiyot, maybe not. You feel free to laugh. But they say if a person has a certain birthmark in different places in the body, it shows some kind of character traits or things like that. Maybe it's nonsense, I don't know. But just like we know that a person born in a certain mazel has certain characteristics, maybe that too has to do with that. Maybe, I don't know. But the Gemara is suggesting it. Says the Gemara, continues, Marsovar Shuma Metzia Beben Giloy. Marsovar Tanakama that says it's not good enough to identify the dead guy by his birthmarks, says, well, he's not the only one. He has a birthmark on his left arm. Okay, could be other people born under the same star, around the same time with the same mazel. They also have the same birthmark. It's very unlikely, but it's still some chashash when we play with Eshes Ish. So that's why it's not good enough. So generally, Simanim are Doraisa, but this Siman, specifically the birthmark, that's not good enough. Umar Sovar, Shuma, Metzia Beben Giloi. The other one, or Lozo Ben Mavoy, says no. I don't, of course, they're not arguing in reality. They're arguing that Lozo Ben Mavoy says statistically it's below my bar, it's below my chashash. Yeah, it's maybe there's how many people are born at the same time and they both went on a trip to Zimbabwe. It's very unlikely. It's not matsui. It's not common that the same birthmark, the same person, Ben Gilo, is very unlikely. It's good enough to be matur deishesish, but it's not a general mechlekes about Simanim in general, only here, about Ben Giloi. Remember, the nafkamina would be regarding a get, right? Let's say, right, somebody lost the get. I found the get. I'm going to give it to him back based on Simonim. There's no Shuma and Ben Gila over there, right? If he identified by Siman, everyone would agree, according to Rava, that it is good. Only by Shuma, birthmark is to do with the person born at the same time. It's not foolproof enough. This Siman only is not good enough for Rabbanon, for Tanakama. That's number one. Now it's better than yesterday, right? The way I explain it now, I think Baruch Hashem is an upgrade. Baruch Hashem. Ibai Sema, also I learned with my Chavrusa is better. He's better than me. Ibai Sema, second answer. Everyone agrees that Shuma, that the birthmark, the wart, is not common enough in Ben Giloy, meaning it's beyond reasonable doubt that it's him. It's not so reasonable the doubt that the same, the left elbow birthmark would be in Ben Giloy. The Halacha here is a very logical machlokes. Birthmarks are very nice when the person is alive, kicking and vital, but when the person died, they found him in Zimbabwe, faceless in the river, Lo Leinu, and you see the body floating, the body there in the jungle, the body starts to decay. And therefore, says Rashi, that a birthmark after death started to change. The color of the skin changes. It was black, now it's brighter. It was bright, maybe it's darker, I don't know. The Zimbabwe sun, I don't know exactly, or maybe it's in the freezing cold of Iceland, once the body is dead, things are different. And that's the question, yes or no. Says Tanakama, I believe Simonim conceptually are good midoraisa. To return a get, yes, you can return a get. A get never dies. It's a piece of paper, right? But here, the guy who died, or the guy died, and now dead body, the Simonim change. The color of the skin and all the warts and the birthmark, it's not the same. Comes the Lozo Ben Mavon, he says, no, I'm not concerned. They're not arguing in science. They're arguing halachic probability. This is a very, very important point here. They're arguing on how shall we be choishesh, shall we, not as scientists, as rabbis, as halacha people, shall we be concerned, that the marks changed after death or not? You ask one scientist who will tell you A, the other will tell you B. The question is, how far are we choishesh? Elazar ben Mavai says, no, I'm not concerned that it changed. Maybe it happened, but not maybe enough for me. And therefore, it can still be matter the man, the woman, to the ganze Welt based on that. 1 minute, one more nafkamina. Iboy Sema, a third answer on a different direction. The kula al mashuma eina sulishtanus lachar misa. Third possible way to explain machlokas chachamim and Elazar ben Mavoi. Yes or no, shuma of the dead husband, or supposed the husband of the woman, yes or no. It's nothing to do with Simonim changing after death, yes or no, post-mortem. The Simonim derabonon, whoa, different direction. Possibly all Tanoim believe Simonim are derabonon, not like we said before the Raisa. It's derabonon. The Halacha over here, Beshuma Siman Muvak Hu Kamiflagi. Oh, what did I tell you? There are 3 levels of Simonim. There's a regular run-of-the-mill Siman. It's a whatever, Shuma, whatever, some kind of Siman. There's a scratch, there's a thing, there's some kind of letter over there. That's a regular Siman. What about a low-level Siman? He was wearing a white shirt. Or even if he wears colored shirts, blue, green, it's not enough of a Siman. It's a joke. It's not a Siman, yeah? Okay, I lost a watch. What watch? The color was silver. That's half the watches in the world, yeah? Whichever culture you read. Now, the Siman which we are arguing about, the Rise of the Rabbanon, is the middle of the road Siman. There's a third siman which we discussed in the first parak, siman muvhak. What's muvhak? Super duper good siman. A very good siman, an excellent siman. I don't know how they say it in fancy arts scrollies. Muvhak is like a diehard, true blue siman. It's a good siman. Very, very hard to fake that siman and just guess it. Will be forged. Very good. Unlike Yeveh. That's the machloikus. They argue, we all agree that siman muvak, listen to this, even if you say simanim are derabanan, a siman muvak is doraisa. Wow. A siman muvak is like edim. We saw many times in Halacha the concept called anan. Very good. Oh, you're back on your feet. Very good. Anan sahadi. Anan sahadi means sometimes reality is so strong, it's as if two edim are talking, right? In other words, if I come and I say, yeah, I lost my, I don't know, my jacket and if I lost my jacket and I tell you some kind of crease inside here with 3 specific letters, no way, nobody else can forge it, right? That's siman muvak. It's like edim. Siman muvak, everyone agrees, yeah, has a level of doraisa and it can be matter and ish. And if you remember in the first parak we said, remember that if somebody lost the get, the shliach lost the get, and somebody found it, and the shliach says it has a tiny hole right next to the letter tzadik soifis in the second line, right? Everyone agrees you can return the get. Wow, why? There's such a super duper siman of specific hole in a certain, very certain place. Nobody, no Rama can forge it, can lie. That's like Edim, no questions. Now, 1 second. Back to the dead guys about what's the word? Unique. Oh, okay, no, unique. Okay, fine. Good, fine. Unique, very nice. Unique, nice. Like unique. Yeah. Masovar Shuma Siman Muvaku. In other words, the reason why Lozo ben Mavoy said you can rely on the wart or on the birthmark in his left elbow or whenever in his right toe, you know why? Because he believes the Shuma is such a super duper good siman, like Edim. I really need Edim. A siman muvak is like Edim, and I believe wart is. It's mamish a specific black dot over here in the shape of something by his left elbow. That's very muvak, says Elazar ben Mavoy. So Shuma loves siman muvaku. And Chachamim say no. We view Shuma, it's a halachic question. We view Shuma, birthmarks, warts, or all kinds of, skin, shall say, defects. Those things are not muvak. They are regular siman. And we both agree that regular siman is only the rabbanon and not good enough to be matresh ish. So this lady cannot be mutter just by the birthmark according to Chachamim. Good. No, I think it was. I don't know, it was first. Okay, I'm listening. Commercials. Yeah, Omar Rove. Yeah. Person. Omar Rove. Now comes the Gemara with a question. Omar Rove. It's Rove. Rove is the star of the show here, the entire page, if you noticed. Omar Rove. Now, up until now, we discussed the what. Now we're discussing the why. Omar Rove. Imtim tzilor mesimanim lav doraisa. If you want to tell me, because right now, if you noticed, we're still in that. You should notice. You should have your eyes on the ball. We're still not sure at all whether Simanim are the Raisa level or the Rabbanon level. We're still in question. Rava says now, why? If you want to tell me in the flow chart, you want to take the Lavda Raisa path, how do Chachamim allow to return an aveda with Simanim? Which means, why do we lower the bar? Let's imagine the following scenario. Let's say that Yosef, Khalila, lost something, yeah, I found it, and then somebody else comes with, no, and you are not there, and somebody else comes and gives me Simanim, and he's lucky enough, nobody here in the room would do that, because you're all honest people, somebody else, Chaim Yankel, would come and ask me to return him that, the beef jerky, whatever you lost, yeah, beef jerky, yeah, and then what, and now I'll give it back to him, to the other guy, based on Simanim without Edim, and Yosef may be losing. And if it would demand for Edim, then he wouldn't be able to cheat. In other words, when you lower the bar and you say, okay, we don't have to be so frumy and so machmi and require Edim, Simanim are good enough, be more relaxed, say Chachamim. You possibly making the real owner lose, right? Because maybe you're making it easier for swindlers. Make it harder for the swindlers to come and identify, demand Simanim. When Chaim Yankel comes and he says, it's my beef jerky, then I'll say, give me two edim, bring me two edim with you. As long as I don't have two edim, I won't give it back to you. And hopefully Yosef, the real owner, will come and demand it with his two edim to know that he owns it. So why do you allow that? Why do Chachamim allow that? Answers the Gemara. Yeah, Nami answers the Gemara. Okay. Answers the Gemara. The Nichale, we're lying when in Bava Metzia Chav Zayin Amud Beis, Chav Zayin Amud Beis, in the middle of the wide lines. Shall I say wide line or wide line? Yeah. Answers the Gemara. The Nichale lemoitza aveda the nader besimonim. The moitza, the finder, me in this case, the one who finds it, it's easy for him. It's good for him to return it based on simonim without the, so to speak, bureaucracy of what? Of requiring edim. That's much harder. I have to start bringing to edim. The one who found it is happier to give it back based on simonim and not on edim. Why? Why does he care? Because the one who found it is happy with a more lenient system. Because you know what? Yosef lost the beef jerky meat yesterday. Maybe tomorrow I'm going to Khalila lose my favorite watch. And then I may find myself in the shoes, in the head of what? Of the one lost, of the one who lost. And then I'll also be happy. I, as the one who lost it potentially, I'm the one who found it today. Tomorrow I may be the one who lost. And as such, I may want to also feel happier, easier to just get it back upon Simanim and not get it back by by edim, which are harder, which is more kilu of a bureaucracy. Now, this is a great flaw, this answer, because we're ignoring Yosef, right? We're saying it's easy for me, the finder, to say, I'm happy to give it back by Simonim, easy, lenient, chick-chack, whitewash. Why? Not whitewash. Simonim are easier because maybe tomorrow I'll find myself as the one who lost, and then I'll benefit from that more lenient system. Who cares about the finder? Rav Safra is now responding to Rava. The master of this memra was Rava all the time, right? Today Rava is the star of the show. Rav Safra is asking Rava, sarcastic, hard question. Can I do a favor to myself with money that's not mine? Me. I'm the finder, and all of a sudden the limelight is on me. We say, the finder is happy to give it back to Mr. whoever, potential swindler, to Mr. one who claims to be the supposed one who lost it, trying not to say loser, and why? Because it's good for me, the one who found it, because maybe tomorrow I will lose, and I'm happy with that system being more lenient. What about Yosef? The one who actually lost it, the one who lost the item, we're causing him a potential loss. He may have edim, the real owner, and we're causing the real owner loss by giving it back to possibly the Schwindler with easier, more lenient, lower bar raya. Who cares about the one who found it? The one who found it should keep it in his house his entire life. He doesn't gain or lose. He's not a side over here. He's not losing nor gaining. Think of the two people who may be losing or gaining. There are two people who claim it's theirs. One of them is the real owner. One of them is a Schwindler. We don't know who's who. The first guy comes to my house, knocking on my door. I give it back to him with Simanim. Why? Maybe he's a Schwindler. Ask for edim. Because maybe there's another guy crying out there and he'll never see his money again. He's the one who should care about the potential real owner, not the finder. He's not outside. He doesn't have money here. The one who lost here is Zoom again. Ella. Therefore, we tweak it, but we tweak it big time. Nichale lebal aveda, the bal aveda himself, the owner of the item himself, he's happy with the system. Wow. Why? Nichale lebal aveda, line starts with the word aveda. We're about 6-7 lines from the bottom of the page. Nichale lebal aveda lemehav simonin ulemishkele. The bal aveda himself. Let's look now, let's read, virtual reality. Let's go now into the mind of the owner of the aveda who's looking for his aveda. He is happy with him himself actually being able to take the aveda, retrieve and claim the aveda by simonim. Why? And not by edim. Why? Made the yoda, the edim lesle. Says Rashi, many times people don't have edim of the stuff they own. They may lose something, don't have edim. This watch, although you see me with this watch with no simonim, can I have two edim that would come to Beis Din under oath and be nishba to Beis Din that this is my that this is my watch? Not necessarily. Not necessarily. People don't have edim about everything that they own. Yeah, you have edim about my undershirt. You don't. You never saw me with my undershirt. Not everything has edim, right? And masha'en can, and therefore, if you require edim, then the good guy in the story may also be losing. What about Simanim? Maybe Simanim are too easy, and the Schwindler will get it, and not the owner. And that continues the Gemara, and we're still now talking verbatim in the mind of the owner. And the Gemara keeps saying, the Gemara says, Umeimer Omar, and he says as follows: Kula alma lo yadi Simonim muvhokim dido. Everybody else doesn't know the Simonim, the unique Simonim, as well as I do. I know, Yahivna Simonim muvhokim dido. When it comes to Simonim, maybe there's a Schwindler who knows the Simonim of my item, but of course it's much more likely that I know the Simonim better than him. The Shakalna law, I'll be the one who'll give Simonim and I'll take it. Let's again review. There are two boxes. There are two potential ways to return an aveda. Edim, put it in one box in your mind. Simonim, the other box in your mind. I'm the one who lost my watch. Yeah, Chas Shalom. Yeah, lost my watch. Yeah. Now, if I lost my watch, then Edim, that's a lost case. In many, many cases, me as the owner, to require Edim, that's like red tape. It's bureaucracy. It's like, I'm sorry, I'm online. Bituach Leumi. To get your own rights, you need to fill 15 papers and argue with 10 people. No, one second. Yeah. North Korea for a minute. We're North Korean a minute. Yeah. And now, Mashenkin Simonim. Oh, Simonim? Yes. There may be a Schwindler who knows my watch very well or my pen, but it's much more likely that I know the Simonim better. Toysus points out when we say Simonim Muvakim, we don't talk about the super duper unique Simonim. We talk about relative Muvak Simonim. Yeah. Let's say, yeah, that watch, yeah, I have it's Vius Ein, I have middle of the road Simonim better than other people, right? You still know your stuff, your belongings more than the Schwindler. So Lamaisa, at the end of the day, the one gaining from the more lenient system is the owner himself. Maybe a Schwindler will come. Maybe a third world war will break in a second. We don't live like that. Yeah, maybe. And Mashenk and Edim will be a lost case. We'll be all caged in the house of the moitz of the finder, possibly forever and ever. Because Edim are hard to find about each and every item that I own. That's the logic. That's where Chachamim used the power of HBH. What's HBH? Hefker based in Hefker. And they tell us here HBH comes to power because it makes sense that the person should really use it because we want to make it easier for the one who lost it to get it back. Quick ones. Quick. We are a little bit behind schedule. Yeah. Lighter. But now, with this concept in mind, we are continuing to question the concept of Edim Dorabanon from the last Mishnah of the first parak. If you remember, as the Gemara is going to give us a bit of a refresher now, Elahodetnan. It says in the last Mishnah of the first parak of Metzia, which we've seen, about a month ago, Rabban Shimon Gamliel Oimer. Shimon Gamliel says at the end of the Mishnah there, Echad haloive mishloisho yachzir leloive. Let's say you found 3 shtori choiv. I don't have to explain already what's a shtar choiv. Let's say you found 3 shtoris choiv, and the common denominator is it says Reuven borrowed from Shimon the Gmachnik, he borrowed from Yudah the banker, he borrowed from Bill Gates. Yeah, in other words, but the common denominator between the 3 stores is the loiva, the borrower. Then we assume, it's beyond reasonable doubt that if the 3 stores, not even bound together, like together or crumpled together, so you see what's the common denominator? The loiva. Who should I give it back to? The loiva, which has huge ramifications. When the stars by loiva means it was already paid. The loiva got it back, and it took him too long to tear it for whichever reason. Discuss it. Shit to the Safri stories. Now, Lemaisa, the loiva, it's his, and he's not going to pay the 1,000,000 shekels that are, written there as a debt. Okay, very nice. Okay, makes sense. Shloisha shalovim and echad. On the other hand, if I see 3 shtoras, what? Reuven borrowed from Yudah the banker, Levi borrowed from Yudah the banker, Shlumiel borrowed from Yudah the banker, then I know Yudah the banker is the one who owns the shtaras. I give it back to him, which means he'll hold it, the malve, the lender, and he'll claim the money from them. We're talking potentially big money here. Yeah, each star is not a piece of paper. It's like a check. It carries with it a lot of money, either direction. Does he owe the money or doesn't he owe the money? Okay, so Yachzir the malve. So in that case, Lovim and Echad, give it back to the malve, as I said. Now, frag the Gemara. Oh, now this comes a very sharp question. Frag the Gemara. Nichale leloive la'adurile lemalve? Question mark. This question needs explanation, and I'll explain it to you, Bezrat Hashem. Since we don't really, what do we say? The fact that those three shtaras, let's look at the case of, there are three shtaras. The common denominator is the malve, right? X, Y, and Z, three shtaras, all borrowed from Yuda, borrowed from Yuda, borrowed from Yuda. Okay? We give it back to Yuda, the malve. Very nice. However, that's a siman. It's not edim. And at the moment, the Gemara doesn't think it's a unique siman. It's likely. It's likelihood. It's statistics. That's all. It's simanim. Don't get too excited. Maybe the Gemara now is playing the bad boy. Maybe enochinami, it belongs to the loive, which means look at one star. The star says it's Shlomiel borrowed from Yuda, and the siman shows it's Yuda's. Okay, wait, but maybe Shlomiel really it fell from him, and he already paid the money. By giving it back to the malve, right? The malve will again will lie, and the malve again will charge extra double again the debt. Now listen even more. We say all the time, listen, usually if I lost even a very expensive thing, I don't know, diamond ring worth thousands, lamaisa, the person who lost it prefers it comes back to Simanim rather than Edim. Why? Edim, as Baruch Queen said, Edim are very unlikely to be around and know exactly the details, right? Many people don't have two kosher Edim that can be made exactly on their ownership, unless you live in wherever, somewhere very yachne. So, if you require Edim, we said about any other item, it's going to be locked by who? This is important to know. You'll be locked forever until a Leonovi comes by who? By the finder. I prefer having no bureaucracy, says the owner. I prefer lowering the bar and giving more access to both me and the Schwindler, and I believe I'll win. I'll have better Simonim. Usually it works very nice. With the shtar, it doesn't work. Says Gemara, the Gemara screams. Why? Because if you talk about the shtar choiv, let's say I'm the loive, I paid the shtar choiv. Now, if the Schwindler, the malve, will swindle, and the malve may know Simonim, the malve knows the shtar as much as I do. We both know the shtar very well. We both had to deal with the shtar. The malve very easily will lie, take the shtar, and charge me again what I already paid him. It's much better to have edim, and since there are no edim to either side, I prefer it should be locked in the hands of the finder, and the finder should never give it to anybody, not to me and not to the malve, because here I'm gaining money, but this being in the hands of the loiv. Rashi uses lashon. This year we don't do Rashi; it's inside so much. Rashi says, in the hands of the finder, in the hands of the finder, it's like burnt. It's stuck there forever, like in a Sing Sing jail. That's it. It's a lifer. And malasot, because no edim know. B'shenkin simonim oy vavoy. We can't say, okay, 80-20% that I'll be the right one. No. In the case of shtar, the malve knows the shtar. The malve will easily take it from the finder, and the malve will charge me again the million that already paid you. Oy vavoy. How do you allow such a thing to happen? So your statistic business with the edim being very bad and simonim being relatively better when it comes to shtar does not work. You can see it after Shir. Welcome to the last Rashi. We don't have time now, but that's basically what we're asking. Omerle answers the Gemara. Hasam svarahu. Over there, it's a very, very strong svara beyond simonim, which means the fact that the three shtaros have the same malve on them, it's more than a simon. It's a kanan stadi. It's like edus. That's why over there we say you give it to the malve, because we're not in that game of regular simonim versus edim. It's top-notch simonim, which are like edim. As the Gemara continues, when one borrowed from three people, meaning the common denominator between the three shtaros are the loive is mentioned there, the gabi loive shchichi. It's extremely likely, or beyond any reasonable doubt, it's like edim, that the loive is the one who holds them, and then I'll give it to the loive. No, he'll sigh, whatever. He'll breathe with relief. Loive shchichi, Baruch Hashem, it's back to me, and I really paid it. The loive paid. Gabi malve loy shchichi. Yeah. Obviously, a malve would not have, right, three different stars of the loive, and two of them not even his. Obviously not. Shma minami loive no fool. Must be they fell from the loive. I'll give it back to the loive, and it's beyond any reasonable doubt. It's considered like edim, like a siman muvak. That's not a question. Edim without question. It's like the Torah. That's it. Shloisha shalovu me'echad. On the other hand, three people are borrowed from one, meaning if the three stars have the common denominator of the malve, yeah, and that's the question that we have now. Yehuda lent Reuven, Yehuda lent Shimon, Yehuda lent Shlumiel. Yachzil malve, you for sure give it to the malve, and we're not concerned that maybe the loive is the misken already paid and being shvindled. It's not even, it's beyond any doubt. They must be found by the malve and not found by the loive, and that's beyond any question. And we are in a very interesting country, not China, but right next door. Yeah, travel to China all the way to the top. Yeah, Israel, North Korea. Because just finished yesterday's Amud. Ela hodetnan. Questions are welcome. 10:25. I'll be very nice and liberal. 10:25. Ela hodetnan. And now the Gemara is going to give us the knockout. Here comes the knockout. Boom. Get ready. It says, if I'm not mistaken, in the same Mishnah over there, a person found a few stars kruchim together, all like bound together. The Gemara says either one is like stitched to the other, or it's like rolled in each other. The different stars, or yagudash stars. The stars are tied together in a nice string. Give it back. The Gemara discussed whether kosher, right, or not is a siman. In other words, nothing to do with malve loive. You have all kinds of stars without a common denominator of loive and malve. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of paperwork that I found of different documents, and they are, tied with a red ribbon with a yellow star in the corner, blue star in the corner, whatever. Well, that's a nice siman. So give it back to the owner. Who's what? Who may be loive, malve, whoever. Oh, that's hard. That's regular. By the way, the siman again may be a siman muvak. We're not talking about siman muvak. Siman maybe not so muvak. No, a red string with a specific, a good siman, but not a muvak siman. A regular siman, you give a star based on a regular siman. Ay, 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 ay. Achi nami denichale leloive laadure le lemalve. Here you can't say that. The loive, we don't know who's the owner, loive or the malve. Maybe the loive paid already. Maybe it fell from the pocket of Mr. Loive, who paid his debt already. The malve is quick on the draw. He saw a notice in the newspaper, in the shul, and in the intranet hatameh. He saw all these things together. That what? That, oh, star. Let's make a nice, let's make a quick buck. I'll come with a Simanim. He knows about the red string. He knows the other guy likes to use red strings with ribbons, with stuff. He will go to the finder with Simanim, only Simanim, regular Simanim, not Mubak and not Edim. He'll retrieve it from him. From who? From the finder, and go back to the loive and say, Mr. Loive, here's the star. Pay me. The loive would scream, I paid you already. Says the liar Malve would say, no, look, the star shows the money is still owed to me. Why aren't we concerned about that? If Simanim were only the Rabbanon, run-of-the-mill regular Simanim were only the Rabbanon, then this is absolutely, incredibly, an incredible injustice, Ela Amarove, that's what forces Rava to say, Simanim Doraisa. In other words, Rava doesn't really have a proof, as the Rishonim say, that Simanim Doraisa from a source, but Rava basically says, if we see that's how Rabbanon treat Simanim to the level of Inven Mal Veloive, and there you can't say, oh, everyone's happy with a lower level system. No, everyone would be, the loiver would be happy if he's really one who really paid, which may have, he'd be much happier to say what? Keep it by the finder. They say sometimes to put people in jail for connected to criminals because that protects them. Once they're in jail, the other criminals outside can't do anything to them. He's not happy being in jail. He's not happy that the star is there, but it's better to be in the hands of the Malve. We'll claim it again, right? Better be in the hands of the Malve. And yet we say whoever may be the liar, may yes take it with Simanim. Must be Simanim Doraisa. And if Simanim Doraisa, we don't ask questions. That's a level the Torah required. If the Torah says whoever gives Simanim is good enough, the Torah decided that this is good enough for everybody. Mal Veloive, that's a decision of the Torah. How do we know it's true? Rav is looking for a source which is like a semi-raya. It says, right? Remember we spoke about it yesterday. The Torah says it should be with you, the item, until your brother, until your friend demands it, claims it back from you. Continues the Gemara after we finish the pasuk. Aveda. Do you think the person who found it will give it back to whoever before Mr. Whoever asks for it? Yeah, obviously not. I'm not a prophet. I don't know even who's the one who lost it. It's a technical thing. The Torah doesn't have to tell me that. Elamai, Eladoshehu imramaihu oy eno iramai. Idrashenu doesn't mean he'll claim it from you. You, so to speak, claim from him only once you find out that the guy is not a Rama, you will doresh. The drosh only means like to inquire. Only once you acquired whether he's a Rama, not a Rama, whether he's a liar, not a liar, then you give it back to him. Lav b'simonim, oin a Rama. Lav b'simonim, shma mino, right? In other words, must be we're talking with Simanim. Although the Gemara beforehand said maybe we're talking about Eidim, now Rav is more comfortable to say that when the Torah required to find out that the person is the real guy, the real owner, probably meant the Simanim. Why? Because otherwise the Mishnah that spoke about returning a shtar to a malve just wouldn't make sense. Must be only the Torah has the, as we say in Yeshiva world, greater places, the broad shoulders to say such a thing. You can give back to malve, loive, or whoever, based on Simanim only. The Torah said that. For the Torah, that's good enough. Omar Rove. Now comes again Rove. Yeah, we're daf kaf ches amud aleph. Koach. We have a lot of koach. Baruch Hashem. Omar Rove. Now Rove comes with a statement that begins with if so and so, then claims Rove this and that. Omar Rove. Im timtzilomer simonim doraisa. If you want to tell me on the side, right? We have our flow chart on the side on the option, the alternative, the Simanim Adoraisa, Rabbi was stopped mid-sentence by the Gemara. I remember this from Kita Dalet, the teacher explained it, yeah? Somebody, interjected in the middle of the Rabbi's sentence. Ever happened to you? Speaks in Israeli? Yeah. Now, in the middle of the sentence, the guy takes in. Intim Simanim Adoraisa, frag the Gemara, the Gemara now breaking in, barging into Rava. Intim Tziloimer, you Rava, you say, if maybe it's Doraisa, a pshitle Simanim Doraisa, right? You just told us, you just proved to us Simanim are Doraisa, right? Because if Simanim are not Doraisa, only the Rabbanon, they don't have the koich to return it to a potential malve with a potential liar about the choiv. Answers Rava, back on his feet, back on the saddle. Mishum de ikalamemar kedeshaninan Simonin. Kedeshaninan, full stop, sorry. We did say that the source of the Torah, is a very weak source. The Torah doesn't say that you have to find out he's not a shvindler through what? Through Simonim. Maybe it's through Eidim. In other words, Rava has two points here. Rava said, I don't know if it's really the Raisa, the Rabbanon Simonim. It's very likely that Rabbanon wouldn't actually allow a person to give back to a malve based on Simonim only, because why? If the Torah requires more, you're causing a terrible loss to the loive who'd rather it stays by the finder. It's a svara. It's not muchach. The Rishonim say it's a nice idea. I'm trying to summarize Tosfos and Rosh and the Ritva together. They basically say it's a nice idea, but maybe not. Maybe Enechanami Rabbanon felt, for whichever reason, that things should be returned by Simanim even to a malve. It's an idea what Rava says. It's not foolproof. Now, what about the pasuk Rava brought? The pasuk says you have to demand of the person that he's real, that he's a real guy. It doesn't say Eidim or Simonim. Could be either. So Rava's proof is a proof, but it's not the best proof the Gemara has ever seen. I wouldn't say it myself, but that's what the Ritva says, and that's what the Gemara is saying. Rava himself says Intim Seloimar. Rava himself is like shedding a bit of a doubt in his side. He's more he's inclined to say Simanim are good enough, Doraisa, not the Rabbanon. But we don't know it 100%, and that's when Rava talks. And by the way, Rava didn't finish his sentence. Let him finish his sentence. First of all, Rava says, if Simanim are Doraisa, which is likely but not proven, then Then what? Let's continue. What would be in the following case? Simanin v'simanin. What would be? I found the beef jerky, and two South Africans are interested in the beef jerky. It's a very nice kind of meat that they like, right? Joseph, where are you? Yeah. So then two South Africans, each one says it's man. Yeah. Each one says it's his, and they both bring simanim. They both bring equally good simanim. What do? Says the Gemara, Yaniach. Yaniach, leave it by yourself, leave it by you, says the Gemara, says Rashi, Ad Shiyover Elio. Machavur Sana had a question. Why do you say just leave it there until Elio comes? Maybe they should share. Maybe they should split. As we saw before, remember in the case of the thick wall, and there's an item in the thick wall that goes through and through the entire thick wall, and we say we don't know if it was placed from the outside world or placed from the inside direction by the Baal Abais. We say split it. Why don't you split it here? Then I saw the Rambam. Baruch Hashem, I saw the Rambam. A few clicks and the Rambam was there. Says the Rambam, Yaniach does mean until Elio comes. Yaniach until they find a pshara. Leave it by you until they come to some kind of, they reconcile or they split. Enochinami, or somebody brings a better raya. You continue. You continue on until you see who's right, or until they actually decide to make some kind of civil agreement, some kind of, which is possibly splitting as well. Next case, Simanim ve'edim. One of them brought Simanim, the other one brought Edim. Who's better? Edim. He knows in the Bala Edim, and that's a chiddush. Because one could claim that maybe once we say Simanim are good, maybe Simanim, they made it to the top list. We say no. Although we kosherize Simanim, right, they're still not as good as the real thing. No, every taste is the fake whatever, it's not as good as the real thing. The fake sugar, the fake Coke, Simanim are almost there, they're not there. Edim, the Heilige Edim from the Torah, the real Edim, are always better than Simanim. The one who comes with the Edim will win, the one who comes with the Simanim will lose. Simanim and Simanim Echad, case number 3. We're going to have a few cases, all cool cases. Simanim, Reuven brings Simanim only. Shimon brings Simanim and one aid. Oh, Reuven comes, it's mine, and I know about the blue dot in the corner. And the other guy, Shimon, comes with the other red dot in the corner, and they're both right. Shimon has an aid echad. People, what does the aid echad do? Can I take out money out of someone because of aid echad? What? Yitzchak, his wife's going to get a note today. Aid echad can make you, the other side, swear. Now, if I have an aid echad, and the other one's screaming that I'm wrong, I'll say, excuse me, I have an aid echad. Yeah, lo yokum aid echad bish l'chol chet v'chol ovoin, but one aid is good enough to cause the other person to swear. And if you don't swear that it's yours, then give it back to me. What would be if the person, one of the Simanim people, also has an Eid Echad? Does it have any power? Says the Gemara, Eid Echad keman delei sedami v'yaniach. Eid Echad is considered like nothing. Eid Echad is like thin air, and you just leave it there. The question is, why? Why can't the Eid Echad? It's not my question. It's the Rosh's question, the Muki Yosef's question. We're in the first wide line, by the way. And the question is, why? We both have ever played the war in cards. I have this, I have that. I have an ace, you have an ace. Then I have another card on top of you. So I won. Here it's not the case. It's not a card game over here. Why? What can Eid Echad do? Eid Echad can only cause, I'm speaking on behalf of the Muki Yosef, one aid usually, let's say I claim, and it's a unilateral one-side claim. Let's say I claim that Peretz, the Peretz owes me 10 shekels. Okay, we can fight over 10 shekels. Yeah, with you not even there. And I say, Peretz, you have 10 shekels, that I lent you 10 shekels. You say, no, Akiva, you're wrong. I'll bring one aid. Ellen, be on my side, please. Ellen is the one aid that Peretz owes me 10 shekels. Then what does that do? That causes Peretz to be nishba. If Peretz nishba to keep the 10 shekels, listen to my words, by himself, that works. And if you're not nishba, then give me 10 shekels, right? In other words, Eid Echad can cause the other person to be nishba in order to maintain the money in his pocket, but not to take out money stam. Yeah. In this case, says in Muki Yosef, the Eid Echad won't do anything. Who's holding now the Metzia? Nobody. The finder. Not Reuven and not Shimon. Nobody holds it, right? Eid Echad only works for money held clearly by one side. And now, if it's nishba, he'll keep it. Not nishba, give it to me. It's a clear, I'm not holding it, you are holding it. What's mechaver lavaraya? Eid Echad plus you not being nishba causes me to take it out of your heads. That's not the case here. So Eid Echad won't help anyways, because even if he will be nishba, nothing will happen. Let's say he'll nishba that it's his. Yeah, if it's nishba that it's his, we still won't give it to him. Let's say the other side, yeah, one side is no Eid Echad, the other one has Eid Echad. The Eid Echad says, swear that it's yours. says, Mr. Yes, Eid Echad. Even if he swears that it's his, he won't be able to take it from out of the hands of the finder into the hands of one who's nishba. Because shvua is always in order to hold what you have. Shvua is never to take from somebody else, except for 5 exceptions at the end of shvua. Leave it. It's not for now. Because shvua is to just keep things as they are. You're not gaining anything. So why being mashbia the person's time? It's almost shvua shav. Says the Mukhi here, we're not mashbia the person. Therefore, the echad is not functional because it won't give me anything. Because even if the other side will be nishba, we won't give him the aveda based on his shvua. Yes, we don't give people things if they're nishba. Leave start. We're talking here. Yeah. No, but here they're both fighting. No, it's his interest. It said to find the right when he's not in the picture. If he's home and somebody else is schwindling around, he prefers it stays with the. But here is involved. I think. One more line. Eide ariga veide nefila. One person says, "I have 2 edim with me. It's a garment, a nice talis. I have 2 edim who saw me weaving it. They saw that I wove, W-O-V-E. I was right. Yeah, Eida Ariga, I'm the one who wove it, and I have 2 edim who saw me weaving it in the factory in Petach Tikva. And Eida Nefila, another person, Shimon, says there are 2 people who saw how the talis, this very talis, fell off my back in Simchas Torah in Shul. So each one has 2 edim or 2 different incidents and 2 different parts of the chronology of the beged. One Ariga, one weaving, one when it actually fell. Tinosan Eida Nefila. We believe the ones who said that it fell off his back. Why? The Amrina, because we say the fact he wove it, that's prehistory. That's with the dinosaurs. The Amrina is Buni Zabna. Maybe he sold it. In other words, it's true that he wove it. Maybe you sold it 10 times over. Maybe, the current news is what we care about. They saw it recently falling from Yannis' back. They are the ones who are right. Next one, Nofa. We don't know whose possession it's in. That's exactly the point. We as highly assume, right, you're right, that it's in the possession of the person. It fell from because they didn't say so. Right. It's the good and right. Midas orko, midas rochboy. One person gives you the length of the item. Imagine yourself like a talis, or some kind of big scarf or a shawl. Midas orkoi, the length, midas rochboy. The other person tells me without edim the exact measurement of the width. Yeah. The one who knows the length, the one who gives me the exact length, is more believed than the one who says the width. Why? I'm sorry, I'm reading too much text together, but basically, I don't know whether it's true, but I believe the Gemara. Yeah, maybe you guys can help me. Who's the Rama here? The Rama is a guy who knows because he has seen it on the back of the real owner, right? So let's say 2 people come to the finder, not to the Beis Din. He found a talis in shul. It fell from someone in Simchas Torah with all the balagan, and then one of them says the width, the other one gives the exact length. Now we say the one who says the length is the real owner. The one who gave the width is just guessing right, because to guess the width is easy. I'm translating the Gemara. He's a shvindler who's sitting next to him in shul. He envied his talis. He wanted the talis, and he gauged with his eyes that this talis is about, I don't know, 1 or 1.5 meters wide. The length is harder to measure than the width. We have a professional over here. It's harder to just guesstimate with your eyes the length. So the one who gives you the length is more believed the one of the width when it comes to clothes, not to buildings. Clothes, the length is maybe harder to gauge with I don't know, up and down. I don't know. The width is more or less the same throughout the entire beged. It's easier to guess. As I stated tomorrow, this is not an Ian shear. We try. Okay, yeah. I'm over time. Thank you very much. It's Locho Rabo, Tiskul Mitzvahs. Nice to see you. I think you. Sorry.
A precise width, precise measurement.